The Rap Roundtable.
The Rap Roundtable is back yet again with another installment of the lunch hour. We appreciate everybody who pulled up to the live on Tuesday, not Monday, but Tuesday. We tapped in with the Chatty Boys. But as you can see, Sincere the Rap Snob is back in effect. So we're going to keep the Chatty Patty energy to a little bit of a minimum for this episode. It's still going to be a little Chatty Boy action, but not as much as you got on Tuesday.
Light Chatty action.
Light Chatty. It's a light.
Dennis here will be mature.
Yeah,
appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Hey, Sin, and if you don't want to talk about it, just be the snob that we know you to be. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It's not worried about these distractions and nonsense, man. Let's talk about the music, the
distractions and nonsense.
Let's talk about the BPMs. Oh man!
Shout out to LP, man.
That's a fact. It's your boy Joff here alongside Sincere the Rap Snob.
What up? What up?
Alongside the homie Mace. And you know, the news that's controlling the culture right now is definitely Pusha T and Jim Jones beef, or is it beef? What is it, competition? A slander fest? I don't know. Yo, listen. So Sincere, you were able to tap in on the live. You were listening to the sounds of KRS-One. You were outside yet again. So talk to us about what your thoughts on what Pusha had to say, and then Jim Jones's following response.
It is.
So I have a few thoughts. One, the jabs hit. The jabs absolutely hit. I need to see DQ for sure, and I need to hear the whole thing. But from what I heard, those jabs, we know how Pusha T does, man. He does his research. He knows the nerves to hit, and that little response video that Jim Jones put out, was it today or yesterday or something? It just lets me know that it hit the nerve it was supposed to hit, man. That fake ass laugh that he had in the video, that just tells me that sounded more nervous. That looked more nervous to me than anything else, man. He trying to front like Pusha T didn't do a little bit of damage to the ego, but we know what it is. The other thing that I feel though is that this is it knowing Pusha T, this is light work. This is just like a teaser, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if Jim Jones does in fact decide to escalate this, he got probably 2 or 3 haymakers, you know what I mean, just tucked, ready to unleash, you know what I mean? I'm all here for this, you know what I mean? That we need some of this energy back. That this year's been a little boring. This year's, not it's not even the fact that there's like not an awful lot of music that's been put out. From the more heavy hitters, but also just like news wise, just like interaction wise, just like this guy's talking about that guy, or that guy might collab with that guy. Like it just feels like the space has been dead for the first 6 months, man. So I'm happy that there's some type of energy, some type of excitement going on. I was afraid we was gonna have to start talking about Doja Cat trying to take rap seriously. We don't want to do that. Get the fuck out of here. So I'm here for all of this. I can't wait to see what's coming up in the Surgical Summer Part 2.
Hey, listen, man. I started the campaign a year ago, and she's not a rapper, so I don't need to eat crow right now. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Mace, talk to me, fam. You saw the video from Jim Jones. What was your immediate response to that response?
My immediate response to that is that everything is working out exactly the way we want it to, right? Like Pusha T, like Jim Jones talking crazy about somebody that don't deserve it. That's on brand, you know what I'm saying? Pusha T with vague, captions letting you know he's gonna come at him, you know what I mean? On brand. Pusha T with top tier rap, you know what I mean, lyrically and musically, with sharp dissect shots at an adversary, on brand. And then Jimmy making fun of it like he don't give a fuck, on brand. So everything is working out. Like neither of them would be who we thought they were if they didn't respond how they've been responding thus far, right? Like we knew Push was going to take it to music because he's better at music than 99% of these motherfuckers. And Jim, we spoke about that with the CB boys, you know what I'm saying? The CBs, you know what I mean? Like we knew Jim was going not necessarily get on bars, make a IG video, you know what I mean? Say something funny, you know, maybe write in the comments or something. We knew that's how it was going to go. So the fact that everything is going the way we predicted it, you know what I mean? I don't know if like, you know, we should start just putting out lotto numbers on the next episode since everything we say comes true, you know what I mean?
Fact.
But I like, since everything is going the way we want it to, I'm excited because now we know Push is going to come back with some stupid high level, you know what I mean, slander for Jim. You know what I'm saying? Like, so everything. I'm excited because you know I'm gonna say that the beef with, you know, with Gibbs and Benny was a little undercooked at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? We end up getting more, you know, memes and stories about baby mamas and
some light violence.
It's some light violence, you know what I mean? Which is the type of violence we like. You know what I mean? We like a good old round of fisticuffs in the rap game. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You know, put them up. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, everything is going the way we want it to. And so with that being said, Push, your move.
Okay. Yes. I mean, you're right about the whole Freddie Gibbs thing because the best part of that beef was his ex-girlfriend talking about how thick she looked while Freddie got jumped at the restaurant. So,
and that orange number.
Oh yeah. You know, Freddie Gibbs and whatnot. That was the best part of that. And honestly, that was her feeling. She was Mariah Mills before Mariah Mills. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Zion Williamson. But me, like, you hate to see that Jim Jones has taken the route of social media provocateur, social media troll in this situation, because a couple years ago when that rainbow hair gentleman was doing similar things, Capo didn't like that. To me, this was very 6ix9ine of Jim Jones to take this route, to make a little Instagram video, kikiing about it and making light of it. It's not a top 50 response. It don't have to be. But the fact of the matter is, it's not like he just made up a bunch of punchlines and a rap battle about you that may or may not be true. He spoke a lot of truth about Joseph Guillermo Jones. That's his name. It's not Jimmy. Your opening bar was about your crib being repossessed. That's how the
spirit of repossession haunts you. Like, whew.
Come on. So the thing is, it's like in boxing, when you get caught with a good shot, you gotta shake your head and say, nah, it didn't hurt. That's what I saw when I saw this video. Those punches landed, and I don't think he understood the kind of guy Pusha T would be. This ain't Jay-Z where he's gonna push on you and say you're not on my level. Pusha T's petty. He's gonna take the time to talk about you, and you know it's real when someone who had nothing to do with anything, Mano jumps in saying he has to be harder. I love Mano. Like Mano's one of my favorite rappers. I've talked about that on this podcast. For better or worse, I love me some Mano. But Mano, you are out of your depth, good brother. Like mind your business. I know that's your fellow lobby boy. I understand. Yeah. I understand your position here. Believe me when I tell you that. But when it comes to rapping, this is not street shit. This is rap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Stay out of this. Capo opened his mouth. It ain't like Pusha T started this and he said something derogatory about Dipset or Dipset's impact on the culture over 20 plus years. You out of left field in the midst of a promo run just decide to send haymakers on behalf of a dude who's not even Bird Gang. He's not Dipset. He's not Vampire Life. Aubrey's not none of these things.
And so then the shit that he said about like I don't like to dissect. I don't like to have to dissect bars. Like I'm like you just tell people you slow. You didn't have to tell people you slow if you have to dissect that.
He's because Jimmy says his favorite rappers ever are Jay-Z and Nas. So how do you not understand the way Pusha T is dissecting?
Jim is trying to do that thing that people did 10 years ago, like 3 years ago, when bars still weren't where they are today, where you poo-pooed the nice rapper because nobody wants to hear that. Well, sorry to tell you, Jim Jones, in 2023, people want to hear bars again. And you spoke to the guy who's in the forefront of the bar rap fans, and they're going to stand behind Pusha T in this situation. As much as they might love Dipset's street aesthetic, they're not going to stand next to a dude who's going to try to poo-poo bars. Like you stepped in this one for no good reason. And then we have J.R. Ryder. Like nobody, like if there's ever a clout chase to be had, you know what I'm saying? Grill him? You're gonna grill Pusha T? Like what's going on?
Bro.
J.R. Ryder, he won things, man.
No, look, all respect to J.R. Ryder.
Is Hell Rell gonna come out next?
But real good.
Is 40 Cal gonna say something?
Like nobody was thinking about J.R. Ryder. Nobody has thought about J.R. Ryder in like decades. Like we did not, like, nobody said, you know that meme, like, yo, let's, like, the Dave Chappelle shit, yo, what does Ja have to say? Ask Ja. What? That's how I feel about this J.R. Ryder shit. Nobody cares what he has to say about this.
Bro, like when we mentioned Joel's on Tuesday, we didn't think about J.R. Ryder. Like he got properly ratioed on Twitter behind that because nobody's thinking about you, sir. We know you're a really good rapper, but I don't think anybody outside of the staunch Diplomat record fans wants to hear J.R. Ryder in 2023. And that's no shots because I still listen to old J.R. Ryder and I love it, but keep it. There's been no depth to your flow over the years.
Nah, and this recalls like a conversation that we all had not too long ago when we were talking about like why when people there was that moment where everybody was slandering Jay-Z, right? Mm-hmm. And at the same time people were coming at Eminem, but there were multiple people jumping at Eminem's defense. And me personally, I said it's like kind of like, you know, when it's like the little kid who you know can't deal with the bully is getting bullied, you feel like you got to step up. Recognize that when Jimmy said that about Pusha, nobody in Pusha's camp said anything. It was silent. And now all we get is light bars. We don't even have a CDQ. We had to go search on a Louis Vuitton website to even hear these things. You know what I'm saying? And there are multiple people trying to say, yo, Jimmy, including Jimmy himself. Pusha was silent when Jimmy said that shit. Maybe a little tweet that could have been, you know, directed at him. But it's like immediately everybody feels like they need to, you know, it's not that high. It's not all that. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, that let me know niggas is a little bit nervous.
They're very nervous because it's not like it's randos on Twitter or YouTube or whatever social media platform saying it. It's people who know Jim Jones who are defending him. That means the bar is landing. We've been doing this long enough. We know how rap works. We know how the rap game works. When people jump out too soon to say it's not that fire, it usually is fire. Think about what happened with Meek Mill when back-to-back dropped. People tried to front like back-to-back wasn't there. We all knew. Everybody who had common sense knew. You know what I'm saying? Same thing happened with the story of Adidon dropped against Aubrey. They tried to poo-poo. They're still trying to poo-poo it in 2023. Listen.
Come on, man. Like you got that much to say? Put that shit in the 16 at least, bro. Like at least.
And I'll put it to you like this, for comedic purposes. In 2023, I still front and say Ether's not that fire. So that should tell you that Ether was that fire. I'm still lying about it 22 years later. You know what I'm saying? The bars landed. They hurt. It is what it is. Let us know what you think in the chat about the situation. Do you think that Jim Jones is just going to play the social media game, or do you think he's actually going to attempt to rap? Let us know in the chat. Since the raps now, we're coming to you.
Yes, sir.
So we got some news a couple days ago that your actual favorite rapper, not that other guy, but Andre 3000, your real favorite rapper, was dropping an album, and I ain't gonna lie, the whole hip hop landscape got excited. We were hyped, we was turned up about it, and then Killer Mike had to come on another interview in the midst of a rollout to say that he's not dropping anymore. So can you take us on that roller coaster ride of hearing he's dropping to now hearing he's not dropping?
Yeah, let me
listen. Obviously, look. Obviously, as soon as Andre 3000's name is thrown out there and the word album is part of the sentence as well, everybody's gonna run with it. And I'm gonna be completely honest. A lot of people were really excited to hear just that Andre 3000 verse on the Killer Mike song. I thought it was okay. I thought it was cool, right? It wasn't the type of verse where I was like, yo, if you were to drop an album now, like, holy crap, like he needs to do this right now. But I mean, it's par for the course, man. Like people were saying, you know, people were making jokes like, oh yeah, like he's gonna drop the album and, you know, we're gonna get Detox 2 and we're gonna get that, you know, that Nas and Primo album too. Like this is not what people expected. I'm not at all shocked at the fact that it's not happening. I just don't understand what the hell Killer Mike was doing. You know, because he's making it out to seem like he was just joking about it. So I like there's two ways this could go, right? In my head, it's like either there is a body of work that Andre's working on, and Killer Mike spilled the beans, and and Dre hit him up like, yo, like what are you doing? Like nobody's supposed to know about this. Like keep it low. So either that happened, or B, Killer Mike just wanted to get the free promotion of throwing Andre's name out there and getting everybody's mouth watering over a fucking album. Honestly, like me personally, whether the album actually exists or not, I'm good either way. I think Andre 3000 is one of those artists that, his legacy is pretty much solidified. Obviously, a solo rap album would be would heighten his rank in terms of like the GOATs, in terms of like the greatest of all time. And obviously we've talked about that at length here at the Rap Roundtable, where he's an incredible rapper, he's an incredible lyricist, he's an incredible MC, but like the fact that he doesn't have a solo album kind of hurts his ranking. But I don't necessarily want that in 2023. I think it's a little bit, well, it's a lot too little too late. And honestly, I don't think I could be wrong, and I might get shot at, I might get tomatoes thrown at me, but I really don't think he has a strong rap album in him in 2023. I think if he were to drop an album, it would probably be a bit of a mixed bag. You know what I mean? Maybe somewhere along the lines of The Love Below, but different. Maybe probably some rapping in there, but I don't think Andre has a full front to back rap album in him to even drop. And if he did, I think it would, I don't know. I don't think it would be what people would expect it to be. And I think people would ultimately be a little disappointed. And then, those conversations are going to start up again about like, does Dre really belong in these conversations anymore? So I think the safe thing to do is to just like leave the rap alone. You did the rap, you're on to something else. You have your own lane, just sort of stay there.
All right, I'll jump in here, Mason. I'm gonna cut the line a little bit. And before we even get into Three Stacks, for me, I gotta talk about Killer Mike. Talk about fumbling the rollout with some misinformation. Whether it was misinformation or not, part of me feels like Three Stacks said, yo, pump your brakes, Chief. Nobody told you to say that. You got a little bit ahead of yourself. You got a little bit excited, and I'm kind of leaning with Sin as far as I think he wanted to generate hype for his rollout by way of throwing out a Three Stacks take, because maybe he says that and then the people go and they rush the clip where he says it, or they rush the interview where he says that, and then they go follow it up by tapping into the album. You know how the internet game is played. But for me, when I saw the clip of him walking it back, he looked like a very uncomfortable individual. He looked, dare I say, he looked a little corny in that moment. I hate to say that about Killer Mike, but the energy, the body language gave off a corny energy that kind of took away from a rollout for an album that a lot of y'all, especially in the chat, are saying it's pretty fire. And we know Killer Mike's caliber. And to me, like, if you don't get the green light from the man is playing a flute in Japan. If he did not give you the green light to say that, don't ever in your life fix your mouth to speak about that man on a musical level unless he gives you the green light. You know how this man operates. We don't know him, we know how he operates. If anybody's gonna announce a Three Stacks album is coming, if it ever comes, it's gonna be from him. But to the aspect of the excitement for him, I won't lie, I was excited, but kind of for a different reason from Sincere, because I want to be the person to say that the album is good or the album is trash, so that we can pan it, or we can get into the overrated conversations, or we can properly start positioning him, because where Sin says it's too late, we've seen from you know who that it's not too late. If a person in their late career, the fourth quarter of their career, the twilight of their career, could drop 4 straight, right? And I could change the argument, whether factual or not, that's for the fans to debate, whether factual or not. If Three Stacks drops an album and it's a universal classic, there is a conversation to be had. If the album is kind of trash, or it is some Hey Ya and The Love Below Part 2 kind of energy, there is a conversation to be had. And selfishly, as a opinionator in this space, an opinion giver, I don't want to call myself a critic, but I guess I'm a critic at times. I wanted to have that conversation, and selfishly, I'm disappointed because at the very least, we were gonna get some high art shit. We was gonna get some creative shit. We were gonna get some depth of musicality shit. And now we just back to square one. It's just a story. So I don't know how to feel beyond being disappointed, and that's where I'll leave it at. Mace, talk to me.
Nah, good shit, fellas. Good shit. You know, 99% of the people on the planet Earth are morons. You know what I mean? Of the 1% of people that have sense, spinning Java in that 1%. So when they say everything is a rollout, that shit always rings in my head. Everything is a rollout. Everything is a rollout. But I gotta say, I don't think that I have to push back against that. Okay. I think that there actually is something going on, and that, you know, Killer Mike felt that gossipy energy. Like, I want to be the one to tell you that an Andre album's coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just had to let you know. You know what I mean? Not only do I have a verse, but I know the album's coming, because the first time I ever heard Killer Mike was on The Whole World. So we know he tapped right into Outkast. This ain't no dude. This isn't like Drake who got a verse from him, or one of these, you know, Frank Ocean who got a verse from him. Killer Mike is tapped into the camp. You know what I mean? So I don't think he spoke. I think he spoke out of turn, but I don't think he spoke not knowing what the fuck he was talking about. Now, when we talk about the anticipation for the album, I don't know. Like, my anticipation is like left over from teenage years in my life. You know what I'm saying? When I think about it, I don't know. Jav, you mentioned you know who, and that is the absolute exception to the rule to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that Andre 3K can put out an album that, you know, has he been in the studio? Has he got his reps in? You know what I mean? Has he been writing music? You know what I mean? Has he been listening to how shit sounds now? I'm not saying that for Andre 3K to go out there and put out a Lil Baby album, but I feel like you should be tapped in. You know what I mean? We don't want 1999 flows. You feel what I mean? Like, you should be knowing what the fuck is going on. You've been
I wouldn't be
out in Japan.
99 flows, but all right, that's
just me. But we know that 3 Stacks got some modern flow in him. Every time he does it delivers. We gotta give the credit where it's due.
And not that last one. So you know what I mean? So it's like I'm nervous. You know what I mean? Andre 3000 is one of the best MCs we as a culture has ever produced. You know what I mean? One of the most intriguing characters. One of the just illest people, period. You know what I mean? Who don't love 3K? We talk our shit, but we hip hop niggas at the end of the day. Who don't love Andre 3000? You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I wanted to come out and be an all-time great album, be everything we've ever wanted, and have flawless features and great production and good melodies and great songwriting. But I don't know. I would bet against that in 2023 is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't know if he could, you know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? Like, when you don't drop for years and you come out, you're a great musician, it's refreshing. And it's like, you have 3 years worth of shit to talk about. You know what I mean? But it's like, can Andre get in there and give us 13 tracks of pain by himself? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And like I said, you know who, Nas, if y'all want to, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's the like the fact that
they know who.
It's so impressive. It's so impressive because it shouldn't happen.
Never happens.
Mm-hmm.
And, but if I could jump in just real quick.
Look, Sam,
because we brought up Nas. He wasn't active he wasn't all the way 100% I'm outside active the way he is now. But he was still active, you know what I mean? Like, we got an album in 2012, right? We had features. We got an album in 2008. We got an album, the Distant Relatives Project. I mean, it was few and far between. Oh, we got Nasir, right? Which, you know, wasn't what we expected it to be, but the point still stands that, like, it was kind of far and few between. But he was still active. He was putting out material. We saw the activity. We haven't seen no real activity like that from Andre in like 20 years. So like, it's hard to really feel like, and again, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, but it's Andre, like, he's a genius. Like, of course it's gonna be amazing. I don't know. I have nothing to go on in the past 20 years. And the last thing that he did wasn't even a rap album. So
right.
20 years ago. So it's tough. It's like it's hard for me to get myself to a place where I'm like really truly excited about it. Now, if it comes out and he proves, I want him to prove me wrong. You know what I mean? I want him to see this and be like, "Oh, word, I bet." You know what I mean? And shut me the fuck up. But truth is the truth. Reality is reality. Like,
I mean, to put it this way, the jury's out on this whole situation. As of right now, I'm back at square one. I have zero expectations of an album. And if it gives us another feature or whatever, we'll just treat it how we always treat it. New 3 stacks. I got a new verse, bet. We'll talk about it. If not, whatever. We'll go on to the next rapper. Speaking of the next rapper in Atlanta, you know, Sincere the Rap Snob, we got a lot of drama going on. We got
man.
I don't know. I forget.
Fill me in, because I'll be out of this loop.
We got some kid, I forget his name, Drill something, Mace. Like he dropped the record with 21 Savage.
Baby Drill, yeah.
Drill, and what was the other kid's name again?
Young Nudie.
Young Nudie was kind of on fire during the pandemic. Like
he was man. You know, he had a 21 Savage camp. That's a whole camp. He had a strong
run. I heard the record. I was on Twitter perusing as always. Heard the joint. Then I sent the link to the group chat because I already know like this is kind of hard. I like hard Southern rap. Like again, we New York rap fans and we talk New York bias, but we
allegedly.
You know what I'm saying? But we love hard Southern rap. We don't like the bullshit. We don't like the snap music and all the gimmicky rap. But when it's hard, drums, gangster shit, country shit, we love it. So I heard it and I gotta throw this in the group chat. I didn't throw it in the group chat for Sincere. I threw it in the group chat for Dini and Mace. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Sinner's gonna see. You know what I mean? But then,
I listened to it.
You didn't care.
I was that old guy on the plane turning his head.
Oh yeah. But
sitting out fucking with 4L, that's crazy, man.
But to my own ignorance, Mace, I thought it was just a single with some new faces or a new face because I knew about Young Nudie, and of course 21 is one of my favorites. I'm like, yo, I didn't know that it was a whole story until I started reading the comments, and I'm like, wait. There's bodies dropping with people in separate camps who used to work together. Mace, explain this for me, please.
Man, so you mentioned Baby Drill, you know what I mean? And this all kind of ties in. You know what I mean? That's the Baby Drill out of the 4L camp, 21 Savage and all that. You know, he's been in and out of jail. You know what I'm saying? And I think when we mentioned our guy, shouts to I Am God. You know what I mean? When I mentioned him, I mentioned the fact that usually that it was kind of refreshing to just be able to listen to a rapper without knowing the rap sheet before you even ever heard him. Because before I ever heard a track from Baby Drill, you know what I mean? You heard about him, you know, in lyrics from other rappers, you know what I mean? In the, you know, the police blotter, you know what I mean? New part of the rap game, you know what I mean?
Mace not trying to get caught in the RICO. That's what's going on here.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, man. With no parts, civilian, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, so if you know, Gunna kind of mentioned when he was taking shots at Lil Baby, you know, people hit your mans and you still rocking with him. In so many words, I don't remember the exact lyrics, but basically that people killed your mans and you still rocking with him. Everybody was like, what's going on? What is he talking about? But the rumor allegedly on the streets is that the Baby Drill character from 4L had something to do with the death of Lil Baby's man, Young Marlo. If you remember the first hot song Lil Baby he ever had, Marlo, That's My Dog. You know what I mean? He talked about him in the first song he ever had, or the first popping song he ever had. So, you know, he was murdered in the pandemic times, and you know, Baby Drill and Young Nudie, all of these dudes was rapping about basically, you know, killing their biggest op, which was, you know, Marlo at the time. So, you know, the fact that, you know, since then we've seen kind of Lil Baby shouting out Baby Drill in his stories. We've seen him, you know, basically tagging him and shit. So it's it's in the Atlanta rap game, you know, Chicago is kind of very overt with their gang activity and their beefs, and, you know, just like you say, bodies dropped and this, that, and the third. But in Atlanta, you kind of got to read between the lines to see everything. So that's the word on the street, is that 4L and Slaughter Gang has something to do with Lil Baby's man dying, and he's still rocking with him. So it's looking a little funny in the light. You know what I mean? It took, you know, I'm gonna tell to let everybody know.
Wow. Sin, you have anything to add to that?
Guys, he filled me in, man. Pause.
Hey,
It ain't a pod without a 10 pause, man.
God damn.
Hey, yo.
Flag on the play.
50-yard of sportsman-like right there. You know what I mean? You might get ejected for that one. I don't know yet. But
take me out, coach.
That's crazy though. Like, you know,
Hey,
and you know what it is too? Like, I've been listening to Atlanta rap virtually my whole life. The Sonics on that record in particular don't sound like nothing I'm used to from that region. Is there a new drill sound coming out of Atlanta? Am I mistaken in reaching that far?
Nah, you kind of on point with that, because it's kind of known that a lot of the, you know, Chicago rappers, Dirk, you know, Von when he was alive, and a lot of them live in Atlanta, as well as the New York drill rappers. If you don't know, 22 G's and Fabio Foreign and all of these dudes live in Atlanta at the time. So it's like Atlanta right now, you know, and I know this might upset a few people, but it's kind of like the New York of the 2020s, right? It's where everyone goes to get that, you know, the collaboration energy, the creativity feeling, you know what I mean, to get signed and be around the labels. So that's kind of like the hub right now. So Atlanta's kind of coming with this new pseudo sound. You know, Drake trying to steal it. Go listen, you know what I mean? Listen to his albums. He trying to buy it. You know what I mean? So it's like they got this like pseudo sound right now where it's like it's a little bit of drill, it's a little bit of Atlanta club shit, it's the trap, you know, kind of a new trap sound they doing, you know what I mean? So yeah, that you peeping game, y'all. You know what I mean? I know if everybody do, but you peeping it.
Nah, because I know what the city sound like, and I never heard nothing that sounded like. Even 21, when he talked his talk, it don't sound like the way that record sounded. It sounded very raw, and I was appreciative of it, in fact. But, you know, again, the Rap Roundtable doesn't condone violence, but it was very noticeable that, you know, once I read those comments, and then today all over Twitter, it was heavy. They were coming at Lil Baby's head. I'm like, wait a minute, okay. I'm out of the loop. Yes, sir, your boy Jarv had to check in real quick with this new Young Thug album that dropped. Of course, we just finished talking about Gunna and Lil Baby and the whole situation, so I had to spin back real quick to talk about this album before we complete the lunch hour. This album is entitled Business and Business, and for the most part, it's just that. You know, the intro, you hear him talking to Aubrey, aka Drake, you know, shout out to Mace, where he's talking about pushing Peter and he's being a little facetious, and if you know the reference, you already know he's talking about Gunna. But as you go through the album, you know, it's nothing too overt. If you're going into this expecting it to be like a full-on diss album, Gunna's a snitch, Gunna's a rat, Gunna's a snitch, Gunna's a rat. Nah, it's pretty standard fare Young Thug album. In fact, the album is fire. In fact, I'll take it a step further and I'll say that this album is way more impressive than the Gunna album that dropped a week ago. Fire album. You know, again, for the hardcore boom bap fans that follow this channel, I know y'all don't care about Young Thug, but for the people who have a more balanced palette, like myself, like Deanie, like Mace, who enjoy the entire scope of hip hop, sorry, Sin. This album is definitely fire. It's definitely a step up. The Sonics are there. Shout out to Metro Boomin on the executive production side of things, making this album feel very cohesive, but not monotonous. There's a fine line in hip hop between cohesiveness and monotonous. And I'll say that this album has a good vibe, very cohesive. Matter of fact, let me give you some of the tracks that I'm really ringing off right now. Hellcat Kenny is fire to me. Want Me Dead is fire to me. The intro with Aubrey, fire. Money on a Dresser, Gucci Grocery Bag, With the Racks featuring 21. I'm telling you right now, 21, the way Atlanta's going, I think 21 is in keen position, if he's not already, to be king of Atlanta, considering what Lil Baby's album didn't do. Gunna's situation, even though he did go number one, but with Gunna's situation, number one on Apple to be exact. But I think 21 has the cleanest pathway to be a number one in Atlanta. These features delivered. Young Thug, I hate to see that this man more than likely is going to have to sit for a while, because I would say this album is fire. The different tonalities that he like, there's so many different voices that Young Thug has, different octaves that he hits. Really good. Again, if you like balanced music, not just the straight boom bap and lyrics, but if you enjoy that particular vibe that comes out of Atlanta, in my opinion, Young Thug with this album, Business is Business, has delivered. I played this album, it's probably about, on a 15-track album, it's maybe two songs that I'll say is a skip. But as far as if you put this in your car, you're looking for that vibe, you're looking for that bounce, you're looking for sonics that take you all over the place, Business and Business is an album for you. So now let's get back to the lunch hour. It's your boy Joff. But we got to get Sincere back in the conversation. You know what I mean?
I'm learning a lot from y'all.
Come back on the lawn,
the chatty boys. You know what I mean? But we got to get up the chatty energy, and we're gonna come back over to some hip hop. J-Rock put out a tweet that says on June 27th he's making his return. He's breaking free of the shackles of not putting out music, and he's ready to cook. So Sincere, I think he's one of the guys on TDE that you really look to when it's time for new music.
Man, Pusha T is back on the scene. We got an Andre 3000 sighting. And now to hear that J-Rock, one of the best out of TDE, is getting back in the business, back in the studio. We getting material from him. Things are picking up, man. The second half of the year might end up being pretty strong, despite what the first half of the year looked like. J-Rock is one of them dudes, man. I was like, after seeing that tweet, I went back to his 2018 project. Man, I had forgotten how fucking fire that project is. That shit was like, honestly, like, and I don't often say, especially like newer material from like the last 5 years or so, outside of Nas and probably Kendrick, I don't often say that an album is incredible front to back. But the J-Rock's Redemption Project, front to back, banger. As soon as you press play, you just let that shit rock. And this was a time period where TDE, had just come off of Damn in 2017. J-Rock came in 2018. There was a lot of high hopes for Schoolboy Q in 2019 with Crash Talk, but it didn't quite live up to what we wanted, but it was still a solid project. We thought, like, honestly, this was a time when TDE was supposed to take over the game, right? And that never happened. Kendrick took time off and then left and did his own thing. We have not heard from J-Rock ever since the 2018 project. And then Schoolboy dropped, as I said, Crash Talk, which was, a lot of people thought it was a little underwhelming, and then he disappeared too. We was like, yo, what the fuck? Where all the TDE? TDE was supposed to take over things for the 2019 and 2020s. But yeah, man, that J-Rock, the fact that J-Rock is coming back now, I'm very excited for it. I really want to hear what this sounds like. That I can't wait. It's coming out on Tuesday. At first I thought it might be like a project, but then I was like, projects don't drop on Tuesdays. They used to back in the day, not anymore. So it turns out that it's just a single, but I mean, something is something, man. Like we need that hip hop. We need that real talented energy again. Like all shouts to Ice Spice and that new wave going on, but like we need some real spitters, man. J-Rock, I need you to come through. Word up.
Mace, talk to me, bro. Do you have any energy for J-Rock? I know you sometimes you be hit or miss with some of these acts, but I feel like you be surprising me with who you actually like.
I fuck with, right? Nah, I'm excited for a J-Rock project. I mean, TDE, as much as we give them grief, it's mostly because we're such fans. We get upset that they never drop. You know what I mean? So J-Rock from the original, J-Rock, the real original TDE artist. You know what I mean? Like, so classic versus since Money Trees. You know what I mean? So of course we love the fact that J-Rock is coming through. I was actually talking to my guy T, a big watcher of the Rap Roundtable. You know what I mean? He wants all other viewers to know that the local celebrity rapper is the GOAT in his eyes. You know what I mean? But, we were just talking about the NIP and YG era. You know what I mean? And how the West Coast kind of is a little underrated. You know what I mean? And it's and J-Rock, the most underrated of them all. You know what I'm saying? Me and Jav, we both kind of Schoolboy guys. Me and Sin, we both Kendrick guys. Deanie love Ab. So J-Rock is kind of the guy left out in the cold. You know what I mean? And it's not because he's not a great artist. You know what I mean? Facts. They think his real name is Judas, right?
Good.
Oh man.
But you know what I mean? It's so I appreciate not only the fact that he's coming out, but at first I was upset, like a single. What are you announcing a single for? But you know what, man? Get a man his shine. He ain't dropped in years. Let him have, some excitement around his project, some promotion around it. You know what I mean? The opportunity to put out a single, see how people are reacting. Maybe go out on a little bit of a media tour. J-Rock deserves that. You know what I mean? Like, he's really like a flag bearing person for TDE. He's never talked crazy. He's never left. He's always repped the team. You know what I mean? So J-Rock deserves it, bro. And as far as musically, I expect high level. You know what I mean? TDE, as much as we, it may seem like we not. I can't imagine them other than the mid-steppers, and that was his last album. Other than that, they've always delivered. I can't think of a whack album on TDE, so I think it's going. I'm waiting on it for sure.
I mean, from my vantage point, kind of to agree with both of your takes. Really, with TDE, we just want y'all to put out the music. We got in trouble for saying that. Essentially, again, we put a lot of extra mustard on what we said.
Like we always do.
Shout out to Punch, a little papaya threw it our way, but we took it in grace because we know how to play this game. We don't get emotional.
A little sazon in there.
You know what I mean? We don't get nervous when the blue checks shoot at us. We embrace it. In fact, you know what I'm saying?
Fun with it,
but the gist of it all was we just want the records, and if J-Rock is dropping, then that means it's going to be some quality. Like to what Mace is saying, and even Sin talks about it as well. As much as we get killed for the New York bias, if you actually listen to the show, we tell y'all everything. West Coast sonically is the most consistent region. The rappers put out top tier material, the attention to detail of all the regions. If we're being truthful, the West Coast has the most attention to detail as far as putting projects together, beat selection, content, subject matter, bars, and J-Rock fits that criteria for everything I just listed. So I expect this project to be fire. His 2018 project was fire. And it's like, you know what it is? Sometimes when you have these record labels where one person is the star, sometimes people fall into that shadow. As much as I love Schoolboy Q, I also, maybe it's in my own head, but I always felt like he fell under that Kendrick shadow. Even though he has his own fan base, he's move units, he has what people might feel are classic or elite albums. But when I look at J-Rock always, to me, had his own orbit outside of Kendrick. And the way he carries himself within his music speaks to the fact that he's not worried about what everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm J-Rock, I'm that guy. My voice, my energy, it carries the space. Kind of like how Ferg and Rocky are both ASAP, but Ferg never got caught in that Rocky orbit. I look at J-Rock in that same way. When he drops, people listen and it matters. And I'm excited.
That's a good comparison.
I also like the idea that he's putting a single out, because to me, in my opinion, I always felt like the old model never changed. To me, put the single out, let it marinate, do some interviews, do the old rollout. What's wrong with that? Why you telling me your album is dropping 2 days before it drops? Let me anticipate it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Sam.
Me and Job in sync right now, because I was literally just thinking like TDE still works on that old model of spacing out the projects, maybe to their own detriment. Putting out a single, whetting the appetite. But I do want to pose the question: is it to their own detriment? Like, I want to hear from y'all. Like, do y'all think that they're a little too old-fashioned in the way that they roll out projects or the way they space out projects?
If the numbers, go ahead, Mace. Go ahead.
No, I was heading. Joe, we like that. I was heading in the same direction. I think the numbers dictated. I think Kendrick just had the highest selling hip hop tour ever off of the album. You know what I mean? SZA is going crazy on the charts right now. I don't believe that Ab-Soul underperformed. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for, triple platinum Ab-Soul. I think it performed exactly the way it was supposed to. I think it's working for them because their fan base is a little bit more mature than the McDonald's fan base of most rappers these days.
Right.
I mean, yeah, and I'll double down on that. To me, they've built that aura so beautifully to where it doesn't matter when they drop. It's going to matter. They built that trust. They built that aura within hip hop to where when you hear X from TDE dropping, it's about time. I want to go hear that. Like, we wasn't talking about Absol like that, but the minute we knew Absol was dropping, we all rushed that album. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick, the same thing. We was mad Kendrick didn't drop for 5 years. I forgot to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we care. When Schoolboy drops, get out my way. I'm going to listen to that at midnight. Like, these things matter. You know what I'm saying? So I'll say no. I think it hurts the perception of TDE because we have these conversations and it becomes internet fodder, and then Punch got to get on the defensive and feel like guys is talking outside of his name because it's been so long between projects. So yeah, I'll say it hurts a perspective, but it has not hurt business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean that's what I wanted to hear, because I'm right there with y'all. You know, we all know how I feel about this microwave era, and I feel like TDE still is showing improving that you know, the old ways still work. You know what I mean? And it's not a broken. You know, it's not a broken system. You know what I mean? Like if the quality of the music is still there and it drops, people are going to pay attention to it.
That's a fact. You know what I mean? But fellas, I think we could stop the lunch hour right here. You know, no one's getting fired. Some good content right here. We can hit the pause button. Again, make sure you listen. Take heed to what we say. Don't assume we say something that we're not saying. Don't rush in the comment section before you actually watch the episode. Take in all the information and make sure you go back. If you're new here, go back and listen to all the old work. There's a lot of old work there. Make sure you tap in. But yeah, I think we can leave it right here. Mace, you know, matter of fact, Sen, you missed a few episodes. You take us home, bro.
Yo, for the rap round table, Jaw the point guard, Macito, voice of the young people in the industry. Sincere the rap snob here. Dini out there enjoying his life right now. All good. We the rap round table. We out of here. See you on the next one.
Yes,
sir.